Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. What's up, everyone? It's me, your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk, in the house. It's another edition of Clutch Sports Talk Live, man. Week 18, the NFL regular season is finally over, man. I am ecstatic. Last night was crazy. I got to talk about the Chargers and the Raiders game. What happened to the Colts, man? What a complete collapse with them. Also, some changes around the NFL in regards to head coaches. I'll give my thoughts on that. Also, the NFL playoffs is beginning. I'm going to break that down. But also, I have a special guest this evening, a good friend, an old friend from way back when. We used to be teammates, friends, and we just kind of reconnected. He's motivational speaker, Jason Ferguson from the Get Hit Motivational Speaking Organization, Inc. He'll be joining the show, so stick around for that. Also, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my clutch and not so much for the week as usual. So anyway, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. You know what it is. Let's go. What up, everyone? How you guys doing? It's me, your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk, in the house. Happy Monday, happy grind day, as I like to say, because a lot of people don't like Mondays, but Mondays when you begin the grind, and that's how we do it here on this show. Man, we got lots to talk about in just a little bit amount of time, but first things first, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that, man. If you're watching on the show right now, do that right now. If you're in the comment room, man, hey, drop a like, drop a share, and drop a follow, and also make sure you tell me what's up, man, and I appreciate you guys watching this show this evening. Like I said at the top of the show, man, we got lots to talk about. The NFL reigns king as usual on Clutch Sports Talk Live, but I would be remiss, if I didn't start tonight's show what happened yesterday with the LA Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders overtime thriller, a game in which both teams actually probably could have they should have got the draw, and they both would have been in the playoffs, but the Raiders decided on something else. But listen, that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Brandon Staley as a head coach. Now, I'm going to get to this later on, but we got the news this morning that Brian Flores, the former head coach of the Dolphins, was fired, and Brandon Staley is still around. Now, never been a big fan of Brandon Staley. He's a very, 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 very big into analytics. And honestly, analytics is what cost the Chargers that game yesterday and a lot of other games this season. And this man is still walking around. I really feel bad for Justin Herbert because he's going to be another talent that the Charger organization has had. And he's just basically going to just sit there and rot, just like all the other great talents like a Phillip Rivers or a LT or a Sean Merriam or Drew Brees got lucky and got out. They didn't want him, so he got out and got him a Super Bowl with New Orleans. But the Chargers, for me, man, this team, the weakness of this team was the defense. And oddly enough, Brandon Staley is a defensive guy. He was a defensive coordinator for the Rams last season. He was brought over here to help improve that defense, and still they could not get the job done. The questionable calls, I believe it was the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. You got 4th and 1. You're on the 18-yard line. Not only the 18, but your own 18-yard line, and you go for it. Well, the stats say you should. Man, dude, let's just be real, man. You can't do that, man. Unless you have to. It's still the third quarter. Punt the ball. You live to fight another day. Other questionable calls, especially late in the end of that OT. He calls the timeout when we're thinking the Raiders are looking. Maybe they might you know what? We're just going to run the clock out and we both get in, right? Calls the timeout. He says he wants to make a defensive adjustment. What they end up doing? They give up 7 yards on a run. So what was the point of the timeout? So a lot of questionable calls throughout the season for Brandon Staley. But again, I feel bad for Justin Herbert because I am a fan of Justin Herbert because he's legit. He's the real deal, but he's on a terrible team that are going to, like I always say on Clutch Sports Talk Live, the Chargers will always do Charger things, and that's exactly what happened to the Chargers last night. All right, moving on. The other team that had just a crazy collapse, the Indianapolis Colts. What more needs to be said about them? They go down to Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida. They lose again, a game in which they were heavily favored and a game that they needed to win to get into the playoffs. And not only do you lose, you get blown out. Carson Wentz, again, is just atrocious. I don't understand why people think this guy has any talent whatsoever. When he's bad, he's bad, and when he's good, he's good. But more often than not, he's pretty bad. Now, he kind of had a nice little couple weeks this year that kind of fooled a lot of people. I wasn't fooled. I wasn't fooled because he's still Carson Wentz, right? This is a good organization, but for some reason, their offensive line has deteriorated. They give up almost 5 to 6 sacks yesterday. Now, a lot of that is because of Carson Wentz holding on to the ball, trying to do a little bit too much. But still, this offensive line was one of the top offensive lines in the last 2 or 3 years. What happened to them? What happened to him? Jonathan Allen was tearing up number 72. I don't even know the guy's name, but he was tearing his behind up. And then again, like, listen, this team still needs a quarterback. Frank Reich, I think, is the guy. I think he's the right coach for that team. It's a good environment in that area. I've been to that area. I've been to that stadium. But listen, Carson Wentz is not the future of that franchise. He is suitable for now. I throw him in the boat with like a Baker Mayfield, guys that you could win a couple games with, but they're not really going to take you over to the next level, to that next echelon that you need to get to in order to win a Lombardi trophy. But hey, what else more can I say? I mean, listen, both collapses. And I think in both situations, one was because of the coach with Brandon Staley, and one was because of the quarterback play. Now, one of which, I don't know which, some of them got to go. One of them has to go. Now, Brandon Staley's probably going to still be around there for a little while because that's how it works in the NFL, obviously. And Carson Wentz, I think he's still under contract, so they might give him one more year. But other than that, man, I think I think both guys are on the hot seat, and Brandon Staley and Carson Wentz also. They need to share that. But hey, make sure if you're in the show right now, man, stick around for my boy Jason Ferguson is going to be on just a moment here. But moving on, we're going to talk about the NFL coaching changes that happened starting yesterday with Vic Fangio. He was fired, which, that was no surprise. I think Vic Fangio is a very good defensive coordinator, but as a head coach, probably not so much. A lot of people don't really understand what it takes to be a head coach at any level, high school, youth, professional, whatever it takes. You do not understand the responsibility that you have. Now, some guys can handle and they can spread load all the work around the organization. Some guys, they just can't. And Vic Fangio, like a lot of defensive coordinators who become head coaches, they just don't make it in this modern NFL. If you're going to be a specialist like that, and I always bring up Sean McVay from the Rams, he's an offensive guy. He gets the job in LA. What does he do? Hires Wade Phillips. Why is he hired Wade Phillips? Wade Phillips is one of the best defensive minds in football that we've ever seen. He said, basically, I'm going to run the offense. You take care of defense. I don't even care about that. But defensive guys, what do? They don't know offense like that. So they might have a buddy or two, and they're like, hey, man, you want to come call the offense for me? Sure, I'll do that. Not knowing this guy really doesn't know a lot about the offense in the National Football League. So I'm not saying that the offensive coordinator for the Broncos isn't capable, but I don't know. Because this team, the Denver Broncos, are one of the few teams that I have on my short list that are right there. Obviously, they need a new head coach. That's obvious, right? And the other glaring obvious thing is that they need a quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, not the guy. He literally is a bridge. I mean, that's what he is. Drew Lock, he's not the guy. Of course not. You got Jerry Jeudy. You got Cortland Sutton. You got a nice sort of running game. Your offensive line isn't that bad. Your defense is phenomenal. Even after trading Von Miller away, this is a good job. Now, you are in a tough division. AFC West is one of the tough divisions. You're going to have to play the Chiefs twice. The Raiders are no slouches, even though they're getting arrested every 5 minutes. I turn on my phone, they're getting arrested. And the Chargers are in games. So you could beat them because they end up beating themselves. But the quarterback play in that division is very solid. So whoever you hire in Denver, you're going to have an offensive mindset because that's the way that division goes. And that's how most of these divisions are. You look at most of the teams in the playoffs, which we'll get to later on, my boy Jason, they're mostly offensive-minded coaches. Now, there are a few guys like Bill Belichick. He's a defensive guy. Sean McDermott, Buffalo, the defensive guy. And there might be some other guys that I'm slipping. But literally, if you look at all the teams, most of these coaches have an offensive background with the exception of like Bisaccia from the Raiders, who was an interim coach for the Raiders, but he was like a special teams guy. So nonetheless, Broncos, new coach, got to get Vic Fangio's out. The other pretty obvious one, Mike Zimmer, a new voice needed to be had there in Minnesota. I talked about that yesterday morning on my NFL Sunday morning show. So no big surprise there. Matt Nagy, we knew he was gone literally in September. I don't think he knew it yet. I hope he did. I hope he put his house on the market early in August, September, because we knew he was going to be gone. And for obvious reasons, I think they screwed the pooch on the Justin Fields handling situation. Justin Fields should have started day one. if you watch my show a lot, you know that I'm a big proprietor of quarterbacks playing now. Why? Because the quarterbacks have so much at their fingertips today, even from the youth level. You got quarterback coaches, you got technology, you got training camp, you got all this stuff. It's not like 1985, right, when quarterbacks didn't throw that much. These kids today have so many resources. Let them play. You got to know what you have early on. Matt Nagy decided to go with Andy Dalton, and then it was like, oh, well, I don't really know, blah, 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 blah. And to be an offensive guy, that's what he claims to be. I didn't see it from him, so he's got to go. So does the GM too, but I think he's still sticking around for now. Who was the other guy out there? Yeah, and obviously the big surprise, Brian Flores. Now, this one's interesting to me. This has a very Detroit Lions Jim Caldwell feel, right? For those of you who don't remember, Jim Caldwell, African-American head coach for the Detroit Lions, he led them to the playoffs. I believe it was a 9-7 record, and ended up firing him. And they replaced him with Matt Patricia, who was just dreadful. And they gave him like 3 years, right? Brian Flores finished up his third campaign with the Miami Dolphins. I believe he's 24-25, if I'm not mistaken. And they fire him. This was a surprise because I did not think he warranted a firing. The only thing I would say that, and this is part of the GM's problem too, is they did not handle the quarterback situation appropriately. I think last year it started with Tua and Fitzpatrick going back and forth. Obviously Tua was the guy. I thought they probably should have taken a quarterback this year, this last draft, because there was so plenty of them around. This year, going into this, we don't know. What I do know is that the Dolphins they're in that boat with dreadful teams like the Lions, like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who else is out there? The Texans, teams that just can't get out of their way. This is a very good head coach. Brian Flores is a defensive guy, but he's an adult. You need that in an organization that really has a lot of immaturity. Now, they've made strides, but I think a lot of it was because of Brian Flores. Now, this team started the year 1-7. They won like 8 in a row, albeit it was against some scrubs. Still, a win in the National Football League is a win, right? Whatever. Then you fire the guy. Whoever gets this guy is going to get a good coach. Now, I don't know if he's a Super Bowl winning caliber type coach, but he's a guy that can change culture. And for those of you who've never been around in a locker room or a football locker room, whether it's been college, pro, high school, whatever, the culture of the locker room sets the tone for the whole season, man. For real. And this guy will be able to do that. So wherever this guy goes, which he should probably have a list of teams that I can think of. Obviously, you got the vacancy in Minnesota. The Raiders, they might keep Bisaccia. I don't know. He'd be a good fit there. Who knows? Maybe Chicago. I don't know. But whoever he goes, they're getting a good, solid head football coach in the National Football League. So with that said, I want to bring on the show my guy. Now, just a little backstory before I bring him on here. We go back way when, man, like, I don't even know. Maybe we're like 9-10 years old, if I'm not mistaken. He can probably confirm that. I don't know. I'm getting old. I don't remember these days anymore. But my guy, he's a motivational speaker. He's from the LA area. He went to the University of Hawaii. I believe he played running back, and now he's a motivational speaker out of LA. I want to welcome everyone to the show. My guy, where's he at?
Uh-oh. You see me okay?
There you go. There he is.
Hey, there we go. We in here.
What's up, my guy? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Right guy was good, man. It's good to see your face and to actually get to talk to you, bro. It's been years.
Dude, it's been a long time, man. Like I was telling everyone just a couple of seconds ago, like we go back when to like our flag football days back at Pan Pacific. City champions, mind you. That's a long time.
Flag football days, man. And we used to get it in too, man. We had great times. And that's where I think our competitive juices started flowing, and that's where we really got it rocking. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think for us, like we played on all-star teams growing up, but I think we had the opportunity to play on the same team one year. I believe it was the Cowboys, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I remember, I never forget, we lost a game to some team that we probably shouldn't have lost to. And then I think we went on like a tear, man. And we ended up winning the whole thing. I played quarterback, you were receiver. I know you were running back, and then there was I forgot the other kid who was the wide receiver, but he could jump. I forgot his name. But yeah, man. So
taking us back, man.
Yeah, that's a long time. And it's funny because I was looking at these trophies because my parents had brought some trophies out here, and I was looking at them. I was like, man, this says 94, 95. Like, that's a long time ago.
Bro, that's it. One last thing I want to say about you. I remember one of the things that stand out about me, bro, is it was back in our flag football days, and obviously we were super competitive. And I remember we were down at halftime, and you were normally a quiet, reserved person, and your dad is very similar. And I remember at halftime, bro, you erupted like to this day. I remember it, and I remember this like passion, like bro, and you weren't banging on us distastefully. It was more from like a motivated space, like, man, we can't go out like this. Like, no. And like that was the first time I saw that side of you, like that emotional, like crazy. And it's funny, like as a childhood memory, that's the thing that sticks out about you, like that explosion at halftime. We wound up coming back and winning that game, but I think that kind of summarizes.
I actually remember that game. It was a Friday night. It was a Friday night over at Pan Pacific. For those of you know, Pan Pacific is located in like what'd you say, like West LA? Is it West LA?
Yeah, like LA, like Central LA,
Central LA, close to like Beverly Hills, Hollywood type area. So man, I remember those games, and what I could remember from this guy, and you gotta pull him up too, man. This guy had the best jukes that I've ever seen, even to this day. I tell some of my players that I coach, because I coach youth football, I'm like, man, I got to get some tape of Jason Ferguson, because I've never seen nobody shimmy and shake the way this guy did back in our day, man. So, but now you're shimmy and shaking across office rooms, meetings. So going to your motivational speaking career, how did you get into that?
Yep. Great question. So first of all, the name of my speaking business is Get Hit. And I've been doing motivational speaking now for probably going on almost 5 years. And it started about, I want to say, like, how I got into it is one of my friends called me about 5 years ago, and he was at a sales retreat. And, you know, when you go on these sales retreats, a lot of times they bring in speakers. And at the time, they had brought in a speaker by the name of Inky Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
And for anybody that follows sports, Tennessee guy, aside from him being a phenomenal athlete, cornerback, right? That tragic injury that he had, he's a phenomenal speaker. So he blows my homie's mind. And my boy, who's like a brother to me, he calls me. He's like, yo, I just saw this speaker. He blew my mind. Like, have you ever thought about speaker? Like, while you guys' stories are similar, they're different, but your energy, your charisma, like, bro, I think you kill it. And it's so crazy that day, I had literally just told a coworker of mine, because I also work in the tech space, like I work in the tech industry. So that day at work, I had said, man, like I'm thinking about going to high school, sharing my story. So the homie hits me. I had just got through telling a coworker, and man, like honestly, we committed to each other that day. That's now my business partner. His name is Miles Norvell.
Okay.
And we sat down in my living room for 6 months and drew out like not only a business plan and like actually worked our butts off to make this a real thing. We mapped out our presentations. We put together a game plan, and then we got to door knocking. You know what I mean? Like we just started walking around all of LA City, knocking on the door of every middle school and high school out there. And now I'm, you know, keynote speaking at summits. And man, aside from summits, like we're doing, you know, presentations at the college level.
Right.
And,
I saw that.
Yeah, man. So like we've really taken this thing to the next level. I mean, we have one that we just booked next week. It's like 1,000 student assembly. And then after that, we're doing the Black Student Athlete Summit for the NCAA.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, man. So we started this thing from the living room, man, all from my boy Miles hitting me up and saying, have you thought about this?
Wow. So let me ask you this, because we lost touch after some years. You know, we all went our separate ways. I know we kind of knew each other a little bit when you were at Fairfax High School. I was at Santa Monica.
Hey, I remember I gave y'all a 3-piece.
I wasn't playing. I wasn't playing that day. I was not playing.
I still remember that game, bro.
I remember the game. I was sitting on the sideline. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I digress. We'll talk about that later. But anyway,
so fast forward. So we go through high school, Fairfax. You played running back, had a really good career, solid career. How did you land in Hawaii? I always wanted to know that. How did you end up there?
Yeah, so I wound up. So my junior year, I was offensive player of the year. Like in our league and in this city, like I went crazy my junior year. So I was getting all these looks and a lot of opportunities coming my way.
Right.
Because I'm 5'5", for a lot of the viewers can't see me right now, but I'm 5'5", and I'm a wide receiver that plays running back, but predominantly I played in the slot.
Right.
And because I was so short, a lot of schools were like, man, let me see what he's going to do his senior year. Matter of fact, like, let me see what he could do in person. So I would go to a lot of these one-day camps. And at these one-day camps, you can really show off your skill set in person. So I'm going to these one-day camps, going crazy. And long story short, I tear my ACL at a one-day camp, at UCLA camp. Okay. So now here I am. I was getting all these looks, all these opportunities that were coming my way. Now I tear my ACL. And because I had gotten 0 offers because of my size, the opportunities just left as fast as they were coming, right? So like people stopped calling, they stopped showing up, coming to the living room. It got dark. And man, I can't make this shit up, y'all. Like I can't make this up. I'm sitting in my coach's office after my senior football season, didn't play it down. And the head coach at University of Hawaii walks in. And at the time, it was June Jones.
June Jones, right?
And he came there to recruit one of my best friends. And at the time, my best friend played corner. He was like a 6'1", 185-pound corner in high school, big boy. And everybody was interested in him, right? He's getting recruited by every school in the country. So they come there to recruit him. He's outside talking to Fresno State. So June Jones was just waiting around. And while he's waiting around, I'm in the classroom. And something in my mind is like, yo, go talk to this cat. Like, man, get up and go talk to him. And I'm like, oh shit, like, what do I say? Right? Like I've never met the cat, right?
Right.
Like, something in me, bro. I get up, walk over there, and introduce myself. He shakes my hand, introduce himself. I point at the TV in the corner and I'm like, hey, I got my highlight tape. Give me 2 minutes. He walks over to the TV, bro, pops in my highlight tape, watches it for 30 seconds, and then offers me a scholarship on the spot.
What? Wow. Hey, that's pretty remarkable, man. But hey, you had the balls to just be like, hey man, come check me out, bro. I know you're here for him, but why not? Why not check me out?
Check me out. And like, when I do my get hit presentations, a lot of times I talk about shooting your shot. Right. Like, a lot of opportunities come from you having the courage to speak up. You got to be the biggest advocate for yourself. And as a kid, I didn't really recognize that as like a behavioral pattern. I just knew that I had to say something to him that day. But since then, I've been able to be a lot more intentional about speaking up for myself and understanding and recognizing those moments, right? Like there are moments. And if you don't speak up for yourself, those moments will pass you right by, right? And me speaking up that day changed my life forever, man.
Wow. And I mean, you're right on. I mean, you can't score if you don't shoot. I mean, literally,
And shooters shoot. What they say, shooters shoot.
Right, shooters shoot.
Last night.
Was that
Clay coming back last night with the 17?
I see that. Yep, 17 points.
Shooters shoot.
Shooters shoot. All right, so fast forward, you end up Hawaii. Were you there the whole time June Jones was there? Because I always forget, like, when he left and when he was replaced. Were you there the whole time?
Yeah, so I was there up until my senior year. He was replaced by a coach by the name of Greg McMacken.
Okay,
so I was there for 3 years of his tenure. I think he wound up being there for like 7 or 8 years. Of the 7 or 8 years, I was there for the last 3, and I was there for the best of it. We went undefeated.
I remember.
We went to the Sugar Bowl to
Georgia, or was it Alabama? Was it Alabama or Georgia?
Georgia.
Oh, okay.
It was AJ Green. Noshawn Marino, Matt Stafford. They went
so
crazy.
You were there for the Colt Brennan days?
Oh yeah, man. That was my roommate.
Yeah.
That was my roommate. Really good friend. Like
rest in peace, man. Rest in peace to Colt. Yeah. For those who don't know who Colt Brennan is, pull up the tape. This guy, I mean, Hawaii, obviously he's not a big football school on the national landscape, right? That's fair. But what he was able to do in college, the way he threw the ball, the yardage, man, dude, I mean, the guy was amazing.
He was different, bro.
And sadly, he lost his life, but he's a big time player for Hawaii, man. So if you ever had a chance, go on YouTube and check out Colt Brennan. For those who don't know,
check out Colt. And one thing I want to say about Colt, aside from how phenomenal of a quarterback he was, I mean, he had a little bit of that gunslinger sidearm kind of rocket.
Yep.
Aside from how phenomenal of a quarterback he was a better person. He was such an amazing guy, man. He was the guy that wanted to make sure nobody was left out. Wow. He was the guy that wanted to make sure everybody was taken care of. The bigger he got, and can you imagine being the quarterback of an undefeated team like Hawaii? Like Hawaii had no professional sports team. Right. He was the guy, right? He was freaking Elvis out there. But yeah, nothing got to him, man. He was the nicest, just loving, caring dude. So, rest in peace, obviously, Colt. That's my brother. And I always try to take the opportunity to tell people what type of person he was and not just what type of athlete he was.
Right.
He was a far better human being, kind, understanding, emotional, connected human being than way better than the quarterback he ever was.
Right. So when your college career ended, did you ever think about maybe trying to play like semi-pro or maybe try to get in the NFL? What was your thought process in that? Or where was your life at that point in time when it was like, well, dang, my time here is done in Hawaii?
Yeah, man, great question. So I wound up recovering from my ACL, right? So I get to UH, my knee is icy. I'm back, like, but not just back, like I'm back even more swaggy, bro. I turned into a monster, like a demon. Like my work ethic was crazy. My swag was on point. My head was in a great space, and I recovered. So I start kick return my freshman year. I'm out here busting, special teams player of the year and week and all these amazing things. And then my sophomore year, I'm a starter, right? So I got like a 3-year run. I'm about to be a starter for 3 years. And first game of the season, my sophomore year against USC, the Reggie Bush USC.
Reggie Bush, I remember that game.
Man, I tore my ACL again, the opening kickoff.
Yep. Dang.
Yep. So unfortunately, when I tore it the second time, that was it. Like I tried to come back, but like unfortunately, my body is just too susceptible to arthritis, and I had so many challenges. I had 4 knee surgeries just to try to come back from that injury.
Wow.
And, unfortunately, I never made it back, man. So I not only wound up being sidelined, man, my story winds up going crazy. I know we only have a limited amount of time, but I wound up going on a very dark journey. So like instead of thinking about the league and those types of things, I wound up getting heavy into drugs and just suppressed my emotions and just took a completely different turn from the Jason Ferguson that you remember.
Right.
Became, a completely darker version. It's like when Spider-Man started wearing that black suit.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm glad that you were able to, get through that rough patch and you're here and I don't know how long it's been, but over 20 years since, we've communicated before. So while I have you here, man, if you don't mind, dude, I would love to, get your thoughts on the playoffs going on. And I'm going to pull up the actual the playoff seating here. We got some comments here. Let's see what we got here.
Let's talk it.
We got Miles Norvell. He said, "Get hit, let's go."
Hey, that's my guy. That's my brother. That's my partner. And he's
got Carving Up podcast. I guess because you made a reference to Klay Thompson. My boy Bryson, he's a huge Warriors fan, so he's Klay.
He's back, baby.
Yeah, he is back.
Yeah, and look, aside from how he played last night, it was so good just seeing him back on the court.
It was, and he's out for vengeance right now because he wasn't listed on the top 100 list.
No, so, he was tight. He wasn't even top 75, right?
Like top 75. Excuse me, top 75.
Yeah,
right,
so, he was tight.
Which is weird. I don't see how that happened. All right, so let's talk about the playoffs a little bit, man. I'm gonna pull up. We'll talk the NFC first because I'm an NFC guy. So we're off screen right now. Those you can't see us are our handsome faces. Can you see what I'm looking at, Jason?
Absolutely.
Okay. So obviously we got the NFC, Green Bay number 1. Obviously, I think that was probably the right situation. Now there are some concerns with your defense, but overall, Jason, what do you think about the seeding? Do you think for the most part everybody is where they should be? And is there any sleeper team you should be on the lookout for?
Man, I think at a high level, this looks pretty legit. I think the Cardinals obviously suffered a blow when Kyler went down. I think they were rocking and rolling. So even taking that in consideration, I'm not surprised at their seeding. I wouldn't count the Rams out. Like, I think Matthew Stafford has a lot to prove, and I like the way he looks under this offense with this head coach and the way that he's rocking. And obviously they got Odell, and it looks like he's falling into place. I mean, obviously he didn't play that well yesterday, and I think we need to get him more involved. But like when you look at how Robert Woods went down, Odell's in, Cooper Kupp is playing like a savage, right? Like the guy, I'm watching his routes, he's going crazy. So
he's got the triple crown. He's got the most yards, most touchdowns, and most receptions.
He's got it. Like so, I'm not so big on the Cardinals, but I think in my opinion, it would, if I had to be a betting man, I'd probably either go with the Rams or the Bucks. Like, obviously, I'm biased. I'm an LA guy. I want to see the Rams shine.
Right, of course.
But those are probably the 2 teams I'm eyeing. I am a big fan of Dak Prescott, like watching how resilient he's been, recovering from his injuries, what type of leader he's evolved into. how he plays within this offense and how his team he keeps his team rocking. Like I think I'm rooting for Dak, but yeah, man, I'm gonna have to stick with LA or the Bucks.
Okay, well, I mean, hey,
Rodgers out, but dog, like, yeah. So I'll go with 2 or 4, dog.
Okay. So like you said, I mean, you hit it spot on with the LA Rams. Matthew Stafford, he is a guy in my estimation that he'll win you games and he'll lose you some games. We saw that yesterday. He was trying to force feed the ball a little bit, maybe too much. Well, maybe not too much, but I think he was purposely trying to get the ball to OBJ to win the game. And as you should, OBJ is still quite a phenomenal type player.
And OBJ has to make a play on the ball. Like I didn't like how he didn't.
He kind of gave up on it. He just kind of gave up on it.
And he had to make adjustments, but I'd like to see him make a play on that ball and do some of the stuff he did earlier in his career. You know what I mean?
And I think he might be able to get back there. I think he's in a happier place now. He's in LA. He's with a better quarterback, obviously. So the one team I am nervous about is the Niners, and I'm a big Cowboys fan.
You saw their comeback yesterday? Down 17?
I'm worried about that. I'm a huge Cowboys fan. I lived in Texas for quite a bit. I named my son Dallas, so I'm committed. So I'm worried about the Niners because they're a physical team. They will run the football down your throat, and they won't even ask for names. Okay, they don't care. But I think this is going to be one of the better playoffs that I've seen in actually my whole lifetime, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you look at these 7 teams, maybe with the exception of the Eagles, right? The Eagles, whatever. Yeah. And maybe the Cardinals, maybe, right? But I think the Cardinals are getting. I think JJ Watt's coming back, and I think D-Hop is right around the corner, perhaps. But if you take away the Eagles, you can look at any of these teams and make a case for a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, you really can, especially the way Garoppolo handled the pressure yesterday.
Right.
The way they were able to put pressure on Stafford. Yep. The way their defense rallied around the ball. The way their running game stepped up. I mean, the way they moved Debo Samuels. Like, looking at the Niners, like they're definitely not pushovers. No, I think this is a really weird competitive season, the entire season, right? So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to watch football, dude.
There's parity when we don't really have, because I think we all went into the season, it's going to be, Chiefs, Buccaneers again, right? That's what we're going to get. But what we know, and I think we always forget that a lot of times the number 1 seed does not make the Super Bowl. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's almost like the NCAA March Madness where we all pick the 1 seeds to make the Final Four. And it's a fact that they all don't ever make. I think there's like one time in the last couple of years that's ever happened. So, but I think we get this embedded in our mind. Like, well, Tom Brady will be back. They signed their whole team back. Now AB's gone. And, I want to get your opinion on AB actually while I have you here. What do you think about this guy? I mean, what's the deal with him?
Man, like, honestly, I think there's a lot of different things that we can dive into, like mental health, CTE. Like, obviously I talked a little bit about my drug addiction, so I'm a mental health advocate, and I'm not going to be the one to say, hey, I think he's on drugs, but I do think there are some mental health components that play into this at a very, very, very large level. Like, people talk about that perfect hit, right? Like, and his behavioral shifts since then. But I think at a high level, right? Like, I watched the podcast that he did with those dudes.
Yeah, I know. I forgot the name of it, but I know.
Yeah, Full Sin podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
And like, I just think there's a lack of accountability. He spent so much time talking about like how he's playing on an incentive-based contract, but bro, you've been unreliable. The shit you did at the Steelers was unreliable. Filming in the locker room, being a bad teammate on your exit. The shit he did with the Raiders, man, catching frostbite on his feet, not going to practice. John Gruden was the only coach standing up for him. Like, man, guys like that, like most of the people don't understand guys like that. He's a hell of a player. I still believe in him. And he did John Gruden dirty. Right?
And the helmet. Remember
the helmet. Oh my God.
He didn't want to play because of the helmet.
Bro, and if you go back and look at it, John Gruden held him down. The only bad press he got was from the GM. It wasn't from the head coach. So then now moving on, it's like, why would anybody sign you to a guaranteed contract when you're unreliable?
Right.
And the fact that there's no accountability behind that, like, just baffles me. Like, you're a grown man, you got a family, you got kids. You gotta be accountable.
No,
one thing they taught me. Hey, check it out. But one thing they taught me in rehab is insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Right, and that's exactly what he's doing. No, but that's a great take on him, man. But I think you hit it right because, I was on my show last week Monday, and I don't have a lot of patience for stuff like that. That's just the military in me because I served in the military, and I don't have a lot of patience for that. So when I keep seeing him doing the same thing, now I would have a little empathy for people who I can give the benefit of the doubt, but he continues to keep doing things over and over. Obviously, he does need our thoughts and our prayers.
He
But
does, because there's some serious. And the other thing I'll say too, not to take away, he
Right.
worked his butt off, dude. Like, I don't know if you follow him or if you
he's a workout warrior.
Bro, he doesn't, well, at least on camera, doesn't drink alcohol,
No,
right?
no,
so he's pretty mindful and conscious of what he puts in his body, and he's always working out. So you can't take that away from him. He works hard. No, he's a grinder, but you have to couple that with like the right behaviors and the right mindset and being team oriented. And when Tom Brady goes out on a limb for you and helps you stay in the league, and then you throw him under the bus, bro, nobody's off limits with this guy.
Right.
That's a dangerous guy.
And if you talking about Tom Brady, I mean, Tom Brady is the next to Jesus almost.
Bro, if you can throw Tom Brady under the bus, you can throw your mama under the bus. Bro. Like,
exactly. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with AB. I think somebody will give him another chance here. Some desperate team, maybe like a Lions.
They said the Cowboys tried to swoop in.
Oh no, I hope not.
They said he needed surgery. There are two teams. Because obviously, like, man, like, I live sports, dude. So when I heard that you do a sports talk show, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I was digging into AB, and apparently two teams immediately tried to gun him down, but then they realized that he needed ankle surgery. And obviously that throws a lot more into the mix in terms of how you want to approach this guy.
Nah, I don't want him in Dallas. I'll tell you.
No.
The Cowboys have enough going on as it is from a media.
Bro, you got CD. You got
we got CD, we got Cooper. I mean, Gallup's out. Gallup's out the rest of the year.
He may not. You saw the other dude, Cedric Wilson, step up.
Yeah, he's nice. Boise State, the Fighting Broncos.
What do you do? Like 7 or 8 for like 2 tuds and a buck.
Two touchdowns, 169 yards.
That boy looked like a vet out there, man.
Albeit it was against scrubs for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, that's a confidence. That's a confidence.
It is. You're right. And the Cowboys needed that because the offense had been clicking the last couple of weeks. The defense has been carrying his team the whole year. Totally. And I'm a big Dak Prescott fan. And what's the word? I defended the money when he got the $75 million. I defended it because I feel like that's just what the market is. I feel like quarterbacks are going to get that money regardless. And why not him because of his story? And
that's the going rate for a guy that can hold your franchise down. Right. And while he still has a lot to prove, if you look at his numbers, he plays ball. And if you watched him on Hard Knocks, he's a hell of a leader.
He is
poised. He communicates well.
He's an adult. He's not gonna. You don't have to worry about when he gets on the podium. He's gonna say something stupid.
Man, and the best part about it, he's mindful of those stuff. He understands the package that comes with being a top tier quarterback. And some of those things, you can't teach. You either have it or you don't. And he's got it. So
and he's got it. And
also defended the money, man. And I'd like to see him shine.
Me too. And like I said, it's not like he's playing quarterback for the Browns, or not even the Browns, like the Lions. He's playing it for America's team. And I know people hate that. They hate that saying, but
only because I'm a Browns fan, dog.
Right. But let's be real. The Cowboys are America's team only because they get talked about by America every day of the week. It could be, I don't know, middle of March, and we're talking Cowboys somewhere in the world. Someone's talking about it. And quick story before I move on. When I worked for the Cowboys, I was at the stadium one day, and I met someone from Kazakhstan. Go to Google Maps, pull up Kazakhstan. They know the Cowboys. So not only are they America's team, they're the world's team. All right, so moving on. Let's head over to the AFC picture here. So we got the Tennessee Titans, who they've had a really good season. They were back and forth. They have some bad losses to the Jets.
They've had some injuries.
Obviously, Derrick Henry was hurt, but I think he might be on the mend here shortly. So they finish off the year as the number 1 seed. They beat out the Chiefs, who also had a nice surge, considering how they kind of started the season. A couple big losses at home. Mahomes and the offense didn't look like they were clicking. Just looking at the AFC right now, what you see here, outside of maybe the Chiefs and the Titans, is there a team that you can really say that maybe can vie for a Super Bowl appearance?
Yes, watch out for those Bengals, boy.
Bengals, okay.
Listen. I'm not calling my shot with the Bengals. Like I wouldn't dare do that. They have a lot to prove. But you can't tell me JB's not clicking. Joe Burrow is standing tough in the pocket. You got to remember he took a vicious injury last year.
Yep.
He's back from it. He looks poised. He has a hell of a receiving core. They make plays. Obviously, I'm offensive minded, right? I'm not going to tap too much into their defense, but I would like them to see, a push. I'm a huge Jamar Chase fan. Love that. I think he's going crazy. Yeah. So, I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I'm also really, really impressed in what the Patriots have been able to do with this Patriots team and Mac Jones and all those games that they were able to string together, all those wins that they were able to kind of string together as they got to the middle of the season, towards the back end of the season.
Right.
I think they're not just a playoff caliber team, they're playoff caliber ball club.
Right.
Like Belichick, like if you think he's not going to come correct coaching, and for those of you out there that think that doesn't really stand for something, it stands for everything. How you get your players bought in to the process, how they are in the locker room. Ryan, you mentioned this earlier, like what people are like in the locker room, how they gel together. It all goes hand in hand with the success of the team towards the end of the season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed. But outside of the obvious, the Titans and the Chiefs, man, like you'll probably, if you had a camera on me watching these playoffs, I'd be going for the Bengals, Doc.
Bengals. I like the Bengals story. I like the hookup between Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, former college teammate. That's a nice young tandem.
Higgins going crazy a couple weeks ago too.
It is, yeah, and they're gonna run. I think they have a chance to run that AFC North for quite a bit because obviously the Steelers are kind of like in a flux. Obviously, Big Ben is retiring. I think he is. He should retire. The Browns are what the Browns are, unfortunately, until they can get a quarterback because that's a talented football team. Yep. On paper, they got really good talent. And then you have the Bengals who, Zach Taylor is his second year as head coach, former offensive coordinator for the Rams. He's coming in there. He's doing his thing. And I do like that. I think, and then obviously you got the Ravens, they had an injury plague season, so they didn't make the playoffs. Lamar Jackson missed like the last 4 weeks of the season. Their defense, their secondary got trashed with injuries. Marcus Peters was out. Jimmy Smith missed some time.
I mean, before the season even started, man, they were.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They lost their whole running back core. I mean, they're getting guys that work at like Albertsons, to come and run the rock a little bit. I think I got a missed call, early on in the year because
you're an athlete.
Not anymore, man. I can't move no more. But nonetheless, I like the Bengals. Honestly, man. But you hit it on the money with the Patriots. I think they have a Super Bowl caliber coach, obviously, in Bill Belichick, one of the greatest to ever do it, and that defense is elite. Mac Jones to me is the only weakness, but I think if they can formulate a nice game plan around him, then they have a chance.
They got to coach him. Like they got to establish the run. Right. They have to do things that are going to put him in a position to be successful.
Right. Yep. And now they're going to play the Bills again for the third time this year. They split already. They're heading back to Orchard Park to play them. Yep. Honestly, I think the Patriots could win that game. I don't think that would be an upset if that occurs because I'm not that big on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills altogether. Like they're a nice story, but I just don't feel it.
And they're so inconsistent. Like, don't get me wrong, they started off hot and then they hit a wall.
Right.
And my boy Cotton, he's my boy Stephen Cotton. He's the biggest Bills fan, so I got to hear about it all the time. I'm not bought in either. There's just too many gaps, and I think once the playoffs start, the game changes a bit. Coaching changes a bit. Like how you handle yourself as a team in the locker room and preparation, all these things. Right. Who's healthy? Who's taking care of their bodies? Right, like. All these things come into play, man. So I wouldn't be shocked either if they lost.
No, and the other team that I think might pull off an upset, and I know you like your Bengals, and I like the Bengals too, but the Raiders, I ain't gonna lie, man. I can't stand the Raiders. I live here in Vegas. I don't like them. Everyone knows that. I live like 5 minutes from their practice facility, and I drive by there and I flip them the bird every time. They probably got me on camera.
Man.
But I have to give them credit where credit's due. You think about everything they've been through as an organization, starting with John Gruden, right? The thing that came out with him, the insensitive comments and remarks that he made in his emails, and then you follow that up with Henry Ruggs, and then Damon Arnett, and then the other knucklehead the other day, Hobbs.
What you said earlier, every time you turn on your phone, is something new, and unfortunately. It feels like the case, but you can't tell me they haven't been stringing together some good games.
Yeah, they have, and that's why I think they might have a fight. And I think honestly, that's why they decided they wanted to win that game last night. First
of all, the coach called timeout. That was wild.
Bonehead. bonehead
That was
mistake.
wild. Like, dog, I've made better decisions playing Madden, bro.
Madden,
Like,
right?
oh,
The
like,
game management is not Brandon Staley's.
dog, that coach needs to start playing Madden on simulator immediately. You know how we were back in Madden like 10 years ago?
I remember that.
Situational stuff.
I remember
like,
that.
He needs to get his situational coaching shit up like immediately, bro.
No, you ain't capping on that. But you know, the Raiders, I like Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I think he gets, I hear it a lot out here because everyone's like, oh, Derek Carr sucks. And it's like, Derek Carr is if you're a Raiders fan, I'm gonna get it back on. I gotta get back on camera because I gotta look into the souls of people's hearts right now. Hold on. I'm looking into the camera right now. If you are a Raiders fan, listen to me. Derek Carr is the least of your troubles. If anything, he's the reason why you guys are where you are at today. So just to put that out there, there's no other quarterbacks out. Oh, Marcus Mariota and this. No. Don't get it twisted. Derek Carr is your guy. And if you get the right head coach, you guys can actually do something here in Las Vegas. I'll still hate you, but I'll give you guys the respect that you guys deserve. So, I do like the Raiders, but I think overall the playoffs are going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of good games, I believe, starting Saturday. And I believe that the Monday game, there's the Arizona and the Rams play Monday night.
Yes.
This is crazy.
It should be popping.
Right, because you're right down the road there.
At L. Which was, oh man, just a brutal loss. But one thing I want to say about the Raiders too, before we pivot out, that boy Hunter Renfrow.
Yes.
Listen, I'm a slot, right? So like I watch slots
all the time, right?
So Cooper Kupp, right? Like Tyreek, guys that have route running skill. Hunter Renfrow. Do not sleep on that cat's route running ability. It's crazy.
No, I mean, you can go back to his tape in Clemson. The guy runs routes.
Hey,
he's a big time player. He caught a game winning touchdown from Deshaun Watson that beat Alabama a couple years ago. The guy is a magician back there. Matter of fact, I think didn't they name or he invented a route or something like that? Or
every week it looks like it. The way he hit this dude with the triple whoop-de-wop, I call it whoop-de-wop. Bro, go back and watch it, bro. The touchdown that he caught, go back and watch the whoop-de-wop. Like 6 yards off the ball inside, he gets to the top of the route, and it was like a crossover from Allen Iverson. Like, whoop-de-wop.
I mean, when you look at him, he looks like he's going to sell you like some life insurance or something, right?
Right, guy. He hit him with the oopty-wop. We just got to start calling it the oopty-wop.
Oopty-wop. There we have it. That route is called the oopty-wop. You heard it here on Clutch Sports Talk. Jason Ferguson just named whatever route that is he runs, the oopty-wop. We're going to pin that.
That sure as hell is what it felt like.
So before I get you on to talk a little bit about the national championship game here, who's in the Super Bowl? Who wins it?
Oh, man, that's tough, man. Because I told you I'm obviously going to be rooting for the Bengals. I'd like to see the Rams get there. If I had to be a betting guy, if I had to put my money on things, oh man. So this isn't going to be based on facts. This is going to be based on me being hopeful as I want to rock with the Rams.
Just whatever you want to do.
I want to rock with the Rams. I want to see them pull it together. I want to see their offense click. They've made a lot of sacrifices to get great defensive guys.
Right.
Like we've seen the sacrifice. I think if they could put together some solid games and stay healthy, I think they have a great shot. And if Matt Stafford could just control that gunslinging mentality and play within the system, he doesn't need to force balls down. He goes through his progression. If they block for him, obviously, I think a lot could happen. But look, listen to everything I said behind it, right? It's like you need things to like, pan out perfectly. But I'm going to have to rock with the Rams, man.
Okay, who they playing against? I'm going
to rock with the Rams.
Who they playing against in the Super Bowl?
Probably KC.
KC, okay.
Probably KC. I mean, they've been there before. Like, obviously, there's been a lot of questions about Kansas City's offense all season. I am well versed to that because I had what's his name as my quarterback. I had Patty in fantasy all year, and it was devastating. It killed me. But they're still winning ball games. They're finding out ways to win ball games. I think they're going to be a better team for it in the playoffs. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. So you got the Rams, Chiefs, and you got the Rams winning in the Super Bowl. So I have to get you back on after the Super Bowl's over, and we'll see what happens from there. And hopefully you're holding up the trophy. I hope not, but I hope so. And if that makes any sense, I don't know. So
We
anyway,
hey, we're gonna see. And honestly, like I don't have a horse in the race. My thing lately, and I'm gonna say it first on your show. I'm a Browns fan, and like I work in tech, and I want to be a seed round investor in tech
okay,
space. I want to own the Rams by the time not the Rams, the Browns by the time I'm in my 60s. So by the time I'm in my 60s, I want to be the majority stake owner of the Browns, and I want them to be contending for a Super Bowl. So until that happens, right?
Well, hey, you put it out in the universe, so it's there. You put it out there. You're gonna speak it into existence, my friend.
Hey, I've done crazier stuff in my life, so I've
There
said
you
it
go.
here first. You feel me? And
All right. Well, hey, this is timestamp. It's gonna be here. It's gonna be forever. It's forever gonna be on my page. So it'll be here. We'll come back to this, and maybe we'll be laughing while we're sitting in the suite over in Cleveland, Ohio, man. Once you
your comments are cracking me up. Like condolences for being a Browns fan.
Oh yeah, this is my guy Barry, man.
Painful experience of my life, but I've survived worse. And yeah, we're gonna keep on rocking out. We gotta get rid of a damn quarterback.
All right, Ben, before I let you out of here, I would be remiss if I didn't talk to you a little bit about the college football championship game being played here in just a little under an hour. Alabama versus Georgia, the rematch. Do you expect a different outcome of what happened in the SEC championship, or you think the tide will roll again?
I think we're gonna see. Like, I think this year I probably paid the least amount of attention to college sports, just with how heavy I am in the fantasy and everything that's going on. But I'm definitely gonna be tuning into the game. I think both of the schools are top tier schools, top tier talent. It's gonna be interesting. I'm definitely gonna be watching the game here in 10 minutes starts.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Let me ask you this then.
Quarterback though, young dude, he's nice.
Oh yeah, Bryce Young. Let me ask you this. You play collegiately, and you played during the USC era, right? Around that time when they were USC, from what we know. Like a lot of these young cats, they don't know what USC was like back in the early 2000s. You had Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Lendale White. Their defense was stacked. College football was a big deal on the West Coast, obviously.
Huge.
You fast forward 20-something years now, it seems like college football, in my opinion, is a little it's sectionalized. It's where it's regionally. Like obviously the SEC runs college football. Do you think there's a problem with that, or you think college football will still be able to thrive if Alabama and the SEC continues to be in this game every year?
Yeah, man, I think the dynamic shifted, man. Like the Pac-10 used to be exciting, gunslinging, high velocity, high scoring football. And I think over time, obviously the dominance shifted. And I think there's still a space, because when you think about the talent, right? Like there's talent
in California. Yeah.
What? They're just getting plucked and pulled. And obviously we're not giving them a reason to stay home. Yeah. And we're also not doing a good enough job recruiting outside of California in some of these other areas. So I think the right coach could get it done. Do I think it's going to be the guy from Oklahoma? I don't know. Right.
Riley, yeah.
And I'm referring to USC.
Right.
But yeah, man, I don't think it's written in stone, but I think a lot has to change. And I think it all comes down to recruiting. And it's crazy because I work in sales, and recruiting, there's an element of sales, obviously. Right. And these guys got to get it back to what it was. Because me growing up, I was in awe of not just USC, but also UCLA, dude.
Right, yeah.
Deshaun Foster.
Yeah, Deshaun Foster, Kate McNown. I mean, they have some...
who are some of the other Mike Williams from USC?
Yeah, Mike Williams. Maurice Jones-Drew was at UCLA.
Bro, think about that. So
we have some good, and just even the high school days. Remember, we had Herschel Dennis out of Poly.
Man, Herschel Dennis, Maurice Jones-Drew, Mercedes Lewis
out of Poly. Yeah, wow.
Darnell Bing, big ass. I remember he was just a demon in high school, right? So my point is, there's enough talent to go around, but they just have to do the work. They have to get it done. And I think until they could start recruiting at just a higher level, like those other bigger, more dominant Southern conferences are going to continue to dominate, bro.
Yeah, no,
And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing, a stacked Alabama team where you can go back 2 years and all three of their backs are in the league starting.
Right. And the receivers too. I mean, Jerry Jeudy,
no, they're Devontae Smith. They're all on the same team.
They're all on the same team. It's crazy.
Waddle, who didn't even play, hurt. Like it's so. My point is, I know this is a long ass answer to your question, but it's not like there's not enough talent. The talent's out there.
No, you're right. Especially in Southern California is a hotbed.
Are you kidding me? We had dogs, bro. We had real life dogs. People that lived for this game, died for this game. They trying to get their mom out the hood. Like boys, there's a kid right now who's sharing a bedroom with his 4 brothers, and right now he's about to go get a second workout in. Like we need to go get those guys. They exist. They're out there. No, but until that happens, we're going to keep being second fiddle. USC is going to continue to be mediocre. UCLA is going to be mediocre, and we'll see.
No, I absolutely agree. And the talent's here. You look at Alabama's quarterback. He's from Southern California. Bryce Young played at Mater Dei. He played for the OG Ducks over in Riverside area.
Bro, OG Ducks, by the way, huge shout out to them. They produce talent
like crazy. I mean, there's a bunch of guys.
A college coach, I would just be at their practice like right now. It starts now.
Well, right, and I think they probably are. I think Lincoln Riley might be able to resurrect some of that, the glory. I don't think it'll ever be how it was, like when Pete Carroll was here.
Those are special.
But I think they might be able to get those guys that can maybe resurrect the. And I'm a USC fan, but I think I'm just rooting for West Coast football to be put back on the map again, because I think it's fallen to the wayside. I think we don't get recognized enough because all of our talent is going back east or to the south. And that's got to stop. We got to put some type of taxation on that, because it's not good.
And from firsthand experience, it's all about the conversations that are happening in the living room of the house. Like I would have coaches come and sit down in my living room and talk to my pops and my moms. And it comes down to those quality conversations and you being a quality human being that can also make the family feel like it's not just about football. Like your son is going to be taken care of. And until they start winning games and they can couple winning games with those quality living room conversations, it's going to continue to be a struggle.
No, absolutely.
I'm telling you, but my calling, I should have been a coach, dog. I feel like I'd have been out here just snatching.
I mean, life is not over yet, man. You still got time, man. I mean, I'm ready to play for you right now if we had a team. So.
Bro, I'll coach you up, bro. You be out here rocking rolling in no time.
Well, Jason, man, hey, I appreciate your time, man. It was good catching up. We're going to have to do this again very soon. And let's not wait another 20 years, man, however long it's been. Congratulations to you, man, for everything that you've done. I'm proud of you, man. I'm glad that you're still around. You're still doing your thing, and continue to have much success, and much blessings to you and your beautiful family, man. And thank you for coming on. And let everyone know where we can get a hold of you. Absolutely. If you want to, have some speaking engagements arranged, anything like that.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, thanks for bringing me on. Like, this is a family conversation, right? Like you hit me, I'm like, yo, you want to sit around and talk sport? Like it's a no brainer. So first and foremost, thank you for bringing me on. It was, my pleasure. As it relates to Get Hit, check me out on Instagram, GetHit_Jason Ferguson. A lot of our stuff is also posted on YouTube. You just type in Get Hit Jason Ferguson. I'm constantly posting anything that I do via Zoom. If you follow my Instagram, I'm constantly posting things that way as well. So not only, can you follow me, but you can also get a double dose of that inspiration, because I'm a motivational guy and I'm constantly pumping things that I do and that I feel like, can wake up that inner soul. As far as booking me, you can reach out to my manager and my co-partner. His name is Miles Norvell at gethitnow@gmail.com. So gethitnow@gmail.com. We do middle schools, high schools, colleges, and small businesses. There's probably not a speaking engagement I won't do. So holler at me and man, let's get motivated. Let's go.
Absolutely, man. Hey, enjoy the rest of your evening, man. Hope your Rams pull through. Jason, God bless you, man. And I'll see you soon.
My guy, man. Great conversation, bro. Have a blessed day.
All right, take care of yourself. Whoa, man, that was good, man. Hey, listen, like he said, man, like we haven't seen each other literally in like 20 something years. But like when you're friends with people and people, we shared the battle of football, years ago. It's flag, whatever. It's still competition. You can still feel that. And when you share something like that with someone, the connection is never lost. So it was good to see my guy. And when I ran into him on Instagram like a month or two ago, I was excited for him. And I'm very happy for all the success that he has had and continues to have with his company and his partner, Miles Norvell, I think his name was. So shout out to them. Get Hit. Check him out, man. He's some of his stuff is really good. Not some of it. All of it is good. So check him out on Instagram. I'll plug some stuff too on my Instagram and also on YouTube as well. But other than that, man, before I get out of here real quick, I'm going to recap a little bit of Alabama and Georgia. I'm going to keep it simple. Roll damn tide. That's it. We're done. All right. So before I get out of here, man, we're going to do my clutch. Not so much. For those who don't know, first time watching the show, this is where basically over the weekend, some people were clutch and some people, not so much. So first things first, shout out. We talked about this earlier today with my boy Jason. Klay Thompson back in the building, dropped 17 on their heads in 20 minutes. This is going to be a dangerous team, as if they weren't dangerous already. So he was clutch this weekend. He's missed 2 years of basketball, and he feels pretty disrespected not being listed on the top 75 all-time greatest players. So you best believe Klay Thompson going to be out for them heads. All right, check it out. All right, not so much. Miami Dolphins, what are you doing firing Brian Flores? Come on. Really, come on. You guys had Adam Gase for a couple of years. You mean tell me Brian Flores is not better than Adam Gase? Get out of here. I'm not here for that. Also, clutch, even in a losing effort, Justin Herbert still came up clutch. I don't know how many fourth down conversions he converted last night. The kid is an absolute talent. I feel so bad for him because that organization, they're losers. They will continue to lose. That's what they do. And you can say what you want about the Cowboys. Fine. It is what it is. But the Chargers, to me, they just cannot get out of their own way. And Brandon Staley definitely needs to go. If there's a petition going around for that, let me know. I'll be the first one to sign that thing. And finally, speaking of which, Adam Gase, not so much. What are you doing all year? All the stupid risks, unnecessary risks that you've taken, going in from 4th and 1, this and that, following the analytics instead of following the manalytics. Listen, man, Brandon Staley, not so much. I wouldn't say you single-handedly cost your team the game, but you kind of cost them the game. Just different scenarios, going for it on your own 18-yard line in the middle of the third quarter when the game is still in hand. And honestly, that might have been the difference because you lost by a field goal. Hell, I don't know, but Brandon Staley, I'm not a fan of him. Get him out of there. So that's it. So that's where we are, man. Wow, that was a good show, man. It was an hour. I usually don't go that long, but hey, it was worth it. Shout out to my boy Jason Ferguson from Get Hit, Motivational Speaking. Man, it's been a while, but I'm so happy for him. Again, I can't express my happiness and joy, and I congratulate him on what he's doing, and I hope he keeps doing what he's doing. Matter of fact, I know he will continue what he's doing. So bring him back here probably in the future very shortly. So other than that, man, you guys can catch me. You know what? I might do my NFL show maybe Friday night. No, I can't do it Friday night because I got something going on. We'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. Maybe Thursday I'll go live again, and I'll break down each of the playoff matchups before they actually occur, and that'll be the Sunday, my NFL show. But other than that, man, hey, if you haven't already, if you watched the show tonight and you did not subscribe, come on, man, help me out, man. It's 2022. I'm trying to get all the subscribers on my YouTube page. Hit that subscribe, hit that notifications link. It'll let you know every time that I go live, every time I go live on YouTube and any other content that I post, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Everyone out there. Again, special thanks to my boy Jason Ferguson for hopping on, man. I appreciate him. And everyone else that watched the show tonight live. Hey, that's all I got, man. So I'm out here. I'm about to go watch this national championship game. Roll Tide. It's that simple. So I'm Ryan Flowers. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Let's get it.